What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Brandon, and today we're going to be talking about my personal journey to becoming a full-time treasure hunter and video content creator. It is a long road, and this is the second episode of this series that we're going to be working on. If you missed the first episode, I'll be sure to pin it down in the comments. In that episode, it takes you all the way back to the 1970s when my dad started doing this stuff, and it explains to you how I personally got into it. With that being said, the video creation side was an afterthought. I've done this stuff ever since I was a kid, and honestly, I didn't start as a video content creator. I just started by posting my finds on Instagram. Pictures from parks, us out in the fields, us doing different stuff like that. And slowly but surely, I started to grow a very small Instagram following. This was in probably 2014, might have been 2013, I forget. So right around 10 years ago. There again, I'm not a photographer. I was taking pictures with my smartphones at the time. It was honestly nothing super spectacular. Wheat pennies, sometimes mercury dimes, some V-nickels, stuff like that I was finding in the very beginning. We started posting more of the bottle stuff and saw an uptick because there again, there was just less competition for the antique bottle side. And whenever we got to right around 1,000 followers on Instagram, I thought that that was a really good point to springboard from Instagram to YouTube. I thought that I had maybe 25 to 50 people that were kind of hardcore followers on Instagram that would follow me over to YouTube, and that would give me at least a small base where I wasn't going to start at zero. With that being said, this was my very first learning experience, and that learning experience is it is a very hard thing to do to send people from one platform to another. Whether it's from Facebook to YouTube, or from YouTube to Facebook, or from Instagram to YouTube, it doesn't matter. People do not like to change the platform that they like to watch. And I can't say that I blame them, because that means that they have to learn a whole new thing. They have to set it up. They have to attach their name and their email address to it. And nowadays with hackers and spammers and all that kind of stuff, the last thing you want to do is have your email address on a gazillion different platforms. So I 100% get where people were coming from, and I don't blame them in the least bit for not wanting to change from what they already knew. That being said, it worked a little bit. I think I got around 25 subscribers on YouTube from my Instagram. And slowly but surely, Instagram started to take the back seat as I started to focus in really hard on making videos on YouTube. And the most important thing that I could tell you guys that would be my word of advice is do not get hung up on editing. Do not get hung up on your camera presence, at least for your first 20, 30, 40, 50 videos, because it's not going to be there. Practice makes perfect, and to this day, it takes me sometimes 15 or 20 times to make an intro for a video. So I'll sit there and do a voiceover, I'll stumble over my words, I'll mess myself up, I do it all over again. You know, it's a very time-consuming process that a lot of people do not think about. So as I started to move into the YouTube world, I realized that there were ways to monetize YouTube. I just did not know if I was going to be able to make it or not. I wanted to make sure that I was making content that there was not a ton of competition for. I mentioned this in the last video, antique bottles. Again, there were not a ton of people doing that versus the metal detecting, which is what I really wanted to do, was a metal detecting channel. However, by that time, there was already too many folks over there, and it was going to be impossible to grow a channel about metal detecting to the size that I needed to become a full-time content creator. So as we delved into the YouTube world, I realized that I needed 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to get monetized. I was able to do that within about a year, something like that, but I wasn't producing content consistently. This was in 2017, and I think I only produced like 3 videos the entire year in 2017, so I couldn't expect a whole lot. The following year, I started talking with a couple of sponsors when I was around 1,000 or 1,200 subs, something like that. I know that sounds crazy, but I was able to nail down a couple of sponsors. In the early days, the sponsorships introduced me to people like Butch Holcomb at American Digger, Heath over at History Seekers, and I was able to meet quite a few other people that were within the hobby, which just kind of spread my grounds as to the people that I had to help me be able to get content. There again, YouTube is a very difficult thing to do. It is a beast. You have to feed this beast every single week just about. And to do that, that means you got to find stuff if you're a treasure hunter, or at least make it entertaining or educational. So in the very beginning, I focused on finding really awesome stuff, killing ourselves digging 15 and 20 foot deep holes by hand. We made some awesome videos, and I wouldn't change any of that. There again, I wouldn't recommend doing that if you've never dug a deep hole. So don't think that I'm justifying that. But I wanted to be different on YouTube, and it worked, guys. It really did in the very beginning. The deep holes were not something people had ever seen. Of course, you had everybody that was worried about our safety, and I can't blame them, because if you look at our videos, you would think that we were going to die at any given minute from a collapse, not realizing that we had decades of time and effort into particular dump sites that let us learn the ground and how it crumbles and how it falls and how it collapses. Every single area is a little bit different. Getting off track here. So let's get back on track. So as I focused in further on YouTube, eventually, like I said, my goal was 1,000 subs. We got there. My next goal was 5,000. And I think it's very important to be goal-oriented whenever it comes to social media. You need to have something in the back of your mind and go, okay, I need to try to hit this number by the end of the year if you're trying to make a business out of it. There are some people that do social media that act like this is not a business, and that's fine. If it's just something you're wanting to do as a hobby, absolutely have a blast with it. However, as mentioned in the last video that is pinned below, I did this to help supplement my family's income, so I was kind of in a time constraint. I'd asked my wife for a year to monetize a couple of platforms to see if I could make some money doing that, and thankfully I was able to do just enough to make myself realize that I could keep moving forward. So I think I hit right around 8,000 subscribers, and I was making $200 to $300 a month or something like that on YouTube. And my goal was to get to where I could pay for my daughter's formula, which my daughter has a really rare genetic disorder. And the formula cost for us was right at about $500 a month. It was between $400 or $500 a month back then. So I was getting really close at that $200 to $300 mark, but I needed to push just a little bit further to be able to afford this formula. Well, I worked really, really hard, and by the time I got to around 10,000 subscribers or so, I was making about $600 or $800 a month. And I was just tickled pink, guys. I mean, to me, that was just phenomenal that I was able to go out and do what I loved and pay for something that I was not able to do with my day job. So I slowly but steadily continued to build my following on YouTube up to the point of, I think I was around 25, maybe 23, 24,000 subscribers, something like that, before I branched out to the very next platform. So at the time, it was Facebook. I joined Facebook and I went over there and started making videos. And I was probably one of the very first 5 people in the treasure niche to be making videos on Facebook and realize that you could be monetized. So obviously, if you're the first person within your niche to get into a new platform, it really helps, guys. So I springboarded off of that. I got to around 100,000 followers on Facebook, something like that. I was making really good money at the time. And they introduced this bonus structure, Facebook did. And I'm kind of got to go on a little bit of a rant for a second on Facebook and why it's not a great platform, even though that's where my largest following is. So when we had 100,000 subs, we got this bonus structure sent to us, and they said, hey, you're eligible for being a bonus creator, and we want to give you bonuses for however many followers you get, however many views you can get on your Reels, which is the short form videos, however many stars you get. They were actually doubling the stars that people would send, little tips and stuff like that on the videos. And so we kind of went all in on Facebook, and it let me forget about YouTube a little bit. I continued with YouTube every single week posting a video, but my main focus went over to Facebook because the money was frankly a whole lot better at the time. Well, as I started to produce these reels, my very first reel did 4 million views. I'm talking about my very first reel on Facebook did 4 million views. It was Wild Kyle finding a 1908 Amber Pepsi while he was hanging out with us here in Alabama. And that video took off, and I thought, holy cow, what have I missed? Because now with 4 million views or however many views that video got, it pulled like 25,000 followers, guys. I mean, it was unreal. So I just kind of sat back, I watched it. The bonus structure for that video was unreal. At the time, that one video paid me like I'm going to do the math. It was about $2,200 per million. So that very first video made $8,000, guys, because of the bonuses. However, thankfully, by the wording, I had already thought in the back of my mind that bonus is exactly what it is, and it could go away at any given point in time. Well, Facebook has done a really poor job of telling creators that, and Facebook's kind of like, oh man, this is a bad reference, guys, y'all forgive me, kind of like a drug dealer. They give you the first hit for free, and then you're hooked, right? Well, that's what Facebook did, is they're giving a lot of new creators their first hit for free, if you will. They're giving them a large amount of money, getting them hooked, and then they're kind of in panic mode to create a whole bunch more content to keep that money coming. Well, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker in the beginning. I went all in. I was releasing 2, 3, 4 posts a day on Facebook, and made a lot of money on Facebook in the beginning. Well, eventually, as my channel grew, I continued to post long form as well, and I'm very happy that I did, because what happens is you corner yourself into a niche within a platform. So if you're good at posting pictures, the platform only wants to see your pictures. They don't want to see your long form videos. They don't want to see your shorts or your reels. Well, if you're good at posting reels, 9 times out of 10, they really don't want to see your long form videos, and they don't want to see your pictures. So what I tried to do was tried to keep a very even mix, and thankfully it didn't hurt me. But I've seen a lot of creators that didn't do that. They went all in only where the bonus was, and they built their pages upon pictures. There was even a picture bonus that was going around that's still going around today. And there was a lot of creators just posting picture after picture after picture that are still doing it now just to capture that bonus, not realizing as they built their audience, that audience would only retain pictures and never watch videos. So once the bonus went away for the pictures, or when it does go away, and I promise you guys it will, when it disappears, they're going to be in a royally bad position financially if they're depending upon that particular platform to make their living. So there again, that's kind of one of the things you have to think about being a full-time video content creator is 10 steps ahead. When will the money go away? What will make it go away? And what can I do to keep the money rolling in? So there again, Facebook pulled my bonuses and all of that fun stuff. And I'm sitting with a 740,000 follower Facebook page now that I release a long form video on every single day, guys. Thankfully, I had made so many videos over on YouTube. By the time I started Facebook, I already had a backlog of 200 videos to go through to upload to Facebook. So I started going through and re-editing and re-optimizing for Facebook, because it's really not just a plug and play. You can't just take the video directly from YouTube and plug it into Facebook and expect it to work, because the audiences are different, the platform's different, the whole 9 yards. So I started going in and dissecting my videos, cutting them in half, doing what I could, trying to make the videos between 6 and 8 minutes, because that seems to be what people like over on Facebook. And slowly but surely started to just make a little bit more money, to a point of where I'm kind of just plateaued right now. And I'm happy with that. So Facebook went from being some months $15,000 and $20,000 down to now, with a 740,000 follower page, to $2,000 to $4,000 a month, guys. So there again, that's not fantastic for almost, 1 million followers, and I think I could hit that. I stopped making reels. The reels were making a whole lot of money in the beginning. They were paying $2,200, like I said, per million views. Then it went to $1,200 per million views. Then it went to $400 per million views, and now it's down to $50 per million views, guys. So there again, that same video, my very first video that I produced, that was a reel that made almost $9,000, today would have only been worth $200. So there again, the creator economy can be incredibly rocky. You just have to be smart enough to plan ahead and constantly try to be the first to be doing something new as you go. So while I was doing Facebook, I ended up being contacted by a company called Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app that just talks about local news. It talks about politics. It talks about everything. And they said, hey, we're starting a creator program. We would love for you to be a part of it. It was invite only, and I said, sure, let's take advantage of it. So I signed up for that, and Newsbreak ended up being a big part of our creator program. So we were already making the videos. We just started pulling them over into the other platform. Around the same time, I started messing with TikTok just to see what it was like to be monetized. There again, TikTok is not something that I personally enjoy doing, because it's pretty rancid over there, guys. There's a lot of just haters and people that don't understand what we do. They think we're either looting because we're not archaeologists, or they think that we're trespassing even though we have permissions. A lot of people just assume the worst on that particular platform, so I try to avoid it. With Newsbreak, though, we ended up getting 90,000 followers, and we still have those followers today. In the beginning, they guaranteed that we were going to make a $5 RPM, which is $5 per 1,000 views. So I was pretty excited about it. Well, with time, there again, Newsbreak kind of yanked the carpet out from under us, and the RPM went down to less than $1. Then they started localizing it. They started limiting how much our videos were being sent to other states, because they wanted it to be local news. And now that platform with 90,000 followers that I was making about $3,000 a month on makes me a whopping $2 a month. So there again, you can't just quit your job when you got a bunch of followers, regardless of what you may think. So Newsbreak was a letdown. Well, TikTok's sitting there. I hated the platform, but I started spooling it up to see what it was like when it was monetized. I learned real quick after I was monetized, you have to have 10,000 followers over there. That they pay $55 per million views for anything less than 1 minute. And at the time, there was nothing longer than 1 minute whenever I started. $55 per million views is a very hard thing to reach to make any kind of money that's worth it. So my focus started to go back into Facebook, back into YouTube. I started to forget about these other little side platforms that weren't doing much, like Rumble, TikTok, and Newsbreak. They all just kind of went to the wayside. And slowly but surely, I continued just building my Facebook and my YouTube, and I'm just doing this rise and grind routine, guys. And I feel like, just like I said in the last video, that we're just a few pieces away from this 1,000-piece puzzle. So in the next episode, what we're going to talk about, guys, is instead of all these different platforms that I've tried to conquer, we're going to talk about which one's my favorite and why. I kind of dogged Facebook a little bit in this one, but I'm going to explain more on that in the following video. We'll see you guys in that episode.